Welcome back to the Daily Vent. So next topic on the list is, so you only really know what's going on when you're paying attention, watching independent media, keeping tabs on Twitter, etc. So what happens when the regular Joe gets hit in the face with the bus of lunacy that's been building for 2+ years? How do they respond when all of a sudden they're confronted with this? So essentially this topic is about the idea, this was kind of like the case during COVID, even maybe beforehand, where you have a lot of people that are referred to as normies, where essentially it's like these are your average, regular, everyday Joe that's doing their lives, that's just going to work, going home, spending time with family, etc. They are not necessarily very in the know on things. Maybe they don't really care. It's like, oh, it doesn't really affect me. I can't do anything about it. You know, things like that, right? Like semi-reasonable attitudes. Although I think it's fair to say that you used to be able to afford to live like that, but now I think it's probably fair to say that you can't really afford to live like that anymore if you want to have a good functional country for much longer, right? It's good to start paying attention, especially now, or especially like during COVID times that really kind of showed us that, you know, maybe we should all start paying more attention and being informed, right? Diligence in that. And so like I listed a couple different examples. I think it's the idea of it's like the more people that you're listening to, the more diversity of opinion you're going to receive, and ideally the more like different information, so you kind of be able to check things against each other and see, okay, what's true, what's false, what's reasonable, what's not, what's happening, what isn't happening, you know, who's lying and who isn't. Because if you're only listening to one source and that source is lying to you, then you will be continuously led astray. Whereas if you listen to everybody, you'll hopefully be able to tell what's a lie and what isn't. So that's just good to kind of diversify what you're listening to, kind of be open-minded, but not necessarily trust everything you hear. Well, you shouldn't trust everything you hear or see or etc., right? You know, try to like figure things out a bit, think through things a bit. And then really like, how do these normal everyday people respond when they're confronted with the lunacy? That being the variety of different topics that have all of a sudden exploded over the last, especially 2 years, but really it's been building up for more. Like when you're just going to work in the mine every day, or the steel mill, whatever regular, like the office even, but like mainly just like I think of like maybe like the blue collar type especially, that it's like you are in an industry that the attitudes are probably haven't changed much in the last 30 years or more, you know, and then all of a sudden you're like confronted by your kid at school about how you have internalized racism, misogyny, islamophobia, everything else, and it's like, what? And it's like, you didn't do anything, you just went to work, and you came home one day and all of a sudden your kid's telling you you're a racist or whatever, and like you're just a normal dude. And it's like, how do you respond to that kind of wake up moment of like what is happening? Not waking up in the sense of believing what the lunacy is, in the sense of not believing the lunacy, but in the sense of like what happened where we went insane all of a sudden, you know? And I could go further into a lot of the different examples of things that all of a sudden just like, what the heck just happened kind of stuff. But like, I'll kind of leave it there. Chances are you kind of know the topics I'm referring to. Maybe I'll get into it a bit more later if I'm feeling a bit more brave on it. Because there's certain issues where it's like, as soon as you go there, it's like you're immediately going to, you know, divide the audience. And it's like, I guess I'll kind of say it like this. Everybody can have their own opinions and beliefs on things. You ultimately have like free will to choose what you want to do with your life. But just because you have the freedom to choose that doesn't mean that's what you should choose. Doesn't mean that's what's healthy for you. Doesn't mean that's what's right. I'll kind of leave that there. But it's like, and then once you start trying to push that on everybody else and on their kids, now we could have some real problems. We probably should have some real problems because there are lines being crossed that should not be crossed. I'll leave that there. So yeah, everybody needs to start paying more attention to what's going on around them. And hopefully we can try to do something better. Until next time, this has been the Daily Vent.